Hello, grade 9 students. Today's lecture is about the second chapter. So now we are in chapter 2 and we want to talk about respiration and which is a process important, vital process important to give energy from nutrients. So we respire to give energy by using the nutrients. It's not clear here and it's complicated, but at the end of this chapter, you are going to study how the cellular respiration is important to give energy from nutrients. Let's start like a general introduction as we have it in the book. Deprived of air, a human being survives only for a few minutes. So without air, we will die. Animals, plants, humans, all of them will die. So breathing is a vital process. Vital means إنه هي يعني related to the life. يعني without it we will die. So breathing is a vital process. يعني without breathing we will die. Whether at rest or while performing an activity, a person must always take in oxygen gas and give out carbon dioxide. So during respiration, we take oxygen and we give out or we give carbon dioxide. هلا we can talk also about if a person مثلا is at rest or performing an activity. So when we perform an activity such as studying or playing soccer or running, so when we have a physical activity, so we need more to respire more. Okay, why? To give more energy. So the production of energy is related to the respiration process. So do you understand that in breathing or respiration is a vital process and essential for the production of energy? So the energy production is related to the respiration. At the end of this chapter, you have to يعني to determine the link between the respiration and energy production. Now, let's start the first activity, which is about the organization of the respiratory system. So now we want to study about the organization of the respiratory system, about the parts and the tissues and the structures, okay, or organ of the respiratory system. So before starting, what is respiration? It's a physiological process. What do you mean by physiological process? Physiological process means the coordination of many organs in order to perform one job or one function. So the lungs with the trachea, bronchial, and nasal cavity, uh, intercostal muscles يعني these elements coordinate together. Why? To perform one function اللي هو to oxygenate the blood and impoverish it in carbon dioxide يعني to make the blood rich in oxygen and poor in carbon dioxide. So also we can say إنه digestion is a physiological process. Why? Because all the organs of the digestive system like like the mouth, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, blah blah blah, glands, pancreas, they work together to have or to do one function, one job, which is the digestion of food and the absorption of nutrients. So physiological process means انه I have coordination of many organs to perform one job. يعني هون you have to know انه بس ليكوا شو حعلملكم اياهم ال essential points للmemorizing اللي هي job of respiration هي what? To oxygenate blood and get rid of carbon dioxide. Now the respiratory system is divided into two parts, the respiratory passages and the sites of the gas exchange. حنشوف here خليني احكي بالاول قبل ما اعمل classification لهم. Here we have intercostal muscles. هول very important هون. Intercostal muscles هي هون intercostal muscles. here بهيدي البارت هون. هون I have intercostal muscles and here I have diaphragm. So the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles are very essential for the inhalation and exhalation because these muscles are controlled by the brain, and these muscles are important for the lungs to increase in volume and decrease in volume. يعني بس بدي افتح الرواية افتحهم عن بعضهم. هول هن ال important muscles، يعني هول بيطلعوا لبرا وهذا بينزل لتحت. هيدا this happens during inhalation و during exhalation هيدا بينزل لجوا وهيدا بفوت هيك أكيد هون لجوا. So these muscles هن important for the inhalation and exhalation uh, phases. Clear? So is it clear the intercostal muscles and the diaphragm? So these muscles are very important for what? For the inhalation and exhalation. Now let's talk about the pleural membrane. Pleural membrane هو هيك membrane موجود هيك من برا، بيكون كله مغطية كل هيدا كمان بيكون مغطى. it covers the lungs. هو مثل cover. اوكي مثل cover لللungs. الريبز هن to protect شو اسمه lungs، يعني مثل القفص الصدري. هول الريبز تاعون الثوركس يعني. Okay, now we can talk about the respiratory passages. What do you mean by respiratory passages? The respiratory passages هن مثل في can say إنه هن organs or structures أو organs فينا نقول organs that allow the air circulation. يعني the air if we want the air to reach the lungs or to reach these alveoli, how can the air enter? Nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea. Here I have two bronchi, one for the left and one for the right. هيدا it's called the bronchi. Then I have bronchial. Okay, till here. So from here till here, these are respiratory passages. So nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, larynx, it's Y, trachea, bronchi, bronchial. So here in these structures, I have no change in the composition of the air, of circulated air. So the air is made up of, the atmospheric air is made up of what? Nitrogen, about 79%, oxygen about 20%, and 1% of H2O, CO2, pollutants, and other gases. Helium, maybe also. I have many other gases. Okay, so when the atmospheric air enters the respiratory passages, I have no change in the composition of air. All of them will stay the same, no change at all. Okay, so during the respiratory passages are passages that allow the air to enter or leave the lungs. What about the sites of gas exchange? These are the sites of gas exchange here. Okay, so here I have exchange of gases between air and the blood. So here in this alveoli, okay, or the air alveolar sacs or alveoli, the quantity of oxygen in the air decreases and the quantity of carbon dioxide in the air increases. هون حتفهموا أكتر. This is one pulmonary alveolus. Okay, here we have alveolar air. Okay, here the O2, the quantity of O2 decreases. Why? Because it passes from the alveolar air to blood. So here I have decrease in the quantity of O2, and here in the blood I have increase. But then oxygen decreases in the alveolar air and the oxygen increases in the blood. While here CO2 in blood decreases وهون increases. بعدين نحكي فيهم in the third activity. Okay, so here I have change in the composition of air, and especially للO2 والCO2, not for nitrogen. حنشوف بعدين ليش. So here in the bronchial I have no change بالbronchial. Here in the bronchial I have no change. So this one is a respiratory passage, and these ones are sites of gas exchange. So look at the alveoli, pulmonary alveoli. They are highly vascularized. Okay, highly vascularized وعندهم thin wall و large surface area of gas exchange, not of absorption, because I have two different directions, واحد لجوا واحد لبرا. So the characteristics that make the alveoli well adapted for absorption, sorry, for the gas exchange. شفتوا وين غلطت أنا؟ Not for absorption like the small intestine. What are the characteristics of the pulmonary alveoli that make them well adapted for the gas exchange between the alveolar air and blood? أول characteristic إنه هن alveoli they have thin wall, عندهم large surface area of exchange, and they are richly vascularized, يعني rich in blood vessels. لهون بيكون خلص الدرس. بكون تحفظوا هيدي، نحفظ هيدي، نحفظ هيدي، وبنحفظ اللي على هول، يعني هول ال respiratory passages، وهيك بتكونوا سكرتوا أي سؤال ممكن يجوا من أول activity. هون we have a microscopic observation to 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 see the bronchiole. فإذا this is a bronchiole, this is a bronchiole. اوكي، سو هيدا هو البرونكيول. ليكوا البرونكيول كيف عنده thick wall. شفتوا ال thickness. It's not thin like the alveoli لأنه the air cannot leave، ما فيه يظهر، فعنده thick wall لأنه بس عم يمشي هيك، بس بيمرق، يا بفوت يا بيظهر. Here you can see the blood capillaries around the alveoli, so they are richly vascularized, richly vascularized, richly vascularized. هيدا bronchial عنده thick wall not thin wall. هيدا عنده thin wall richly vascularized. هيدي this part is also just for reading. There are about 700 million alveoli in the two lungs, a big number. Their total surface area is estimated by about 200 meters squared. In addition, the alveoli has أو have an extremely thin wall. ليكوا قديش 0.0001 مليمتر. ليكوا قديش الثيكنس، سبحان الله، 0.001 متر، مليمتر، not meter، millimeter. So they form a large surface area of contact between air and blood. So the three characteristics of alveoli that you want to study about them: alveoli have thin wall, large surface area of exchange, and rich in blood vessels or highly vascularized. خلص. Thank you.